Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review. Not a whole lot happening this week. There's a few out that I was interested in, like maybe 4 or 5, but not a whole lot of new stuff. A lot of re-releases and box sets and stuff like that coming out. December always seems to be pretty slow, but this one caught my eye. Saw it was coming out like a few weeks ago. Didn't realize it was a covers album at the time, but that's okay. It actually turned out okay. It's the Amberian Dawn's new album called Take a Chance, a metal tribute to Abba. When I was a kid, I actually loved Abba. When I was like really young, like 5, 6, 7 years old, somewhere in that ballpark, my parents bought an album called Stars on 45. Some of you may have heard of this. It may just be me that got this, I don't know. But it was just a bunch of cover songs, like medleys of different bands and songs from the 50s, 60s, 70s. And I remember the whole second side was pretty much just a bunch of ABBA medleys. In fact, there's 2 or 3 of them. I wish I still had the record. I have no idea what happened to it. You're a kid, you don't take care of stuff very well, so it probably got destroyed. But so I'm pretty familiar with ABBA songs because I got a few ABBA albums, after that, and until I got into the heavier music and discovered rock and whatever. But everybody knows ABBA, at least a few songs. So I went into this thinking, okay, it's gonna be a bunch of hits and stuff. But I was kind of pleasantly surprised they weren't all hits. But anybody's not familiar with Amberian Dawn, been around since like 2006. I'm not even going to try to attempt to pronounce any of these guys' names. They're all like Norwegian, Scandinavian names. I'm terrible with that. So the only thing I'll say is they got a new singer. I think it was in 12. Her name is Capri. That's not her whole name, but that's about all I can pronounce of it. And they redid an album of their own songs back then, with her singing of earlier material. Oh, I had to catch the phone there real quick. I keep forgetting to turn that off lately for whatever reason. But anyway, so this is basically their 10th album. It's their they have 8th of actually original material, if you want to count their re-recording of the original stuff, and then this is a covers album. So, and they're a real good band, symphonic metal. If you're into bands like Epica and Nightwish and Within Temptation, that female fronted symphonic metal, you're gonna like this. They tend to be a little bit more progressive. They have a lot of progressive elements to it. So if you're into progressive metal, you like that. They don't do a whole lot of the operatic stuff. It's mainly just singing, but there's a little bit of that in there. But anyway, getting back to this, of course they start off the album with the big hits. Super Trooper, which was the rendition of it was cool. Gimme Gimme Gimme, which they actually made heavier. And SOS is actually like my favorite ABBA song. The first verse was a little bit like, okay, whatever. It sounded like they're trying to make it heavy and it didn't really work. But then once it got to the chorus and kicked in, the second verse was like cool. I wish they had done the first one the same way. And so I mean those are like probably the most well-known ones on here. Well, there's Mamma Mia isn't later on, but then they go into some not as well-known ABBA songs. I mean, there's no Voulez-Vous or there's no Dancing Queen on here. So if you're expecting that, they're the huge ones you would expect. They're not on here, except for the exception of the ones I just named. They do Head Over Heels, The Day Before You Came, Angel Eyes, and That's Me, which I couldn't even tell you which albums they're. I've heard the songs, but I don't even know which albums they were off of or anything. But all heavy. I mean, they really did this well. The singing, the melodies were very, very close to, or almost exactly the same as ABBA. With the music, they reworked the music quite a bit to make it sound heavier. Even Mamma Mia, which it's hard to believe, sounds heavy. I didn't know how they were going to do that one, but that one actually came out pretty heavy. Under Attack was the next track on there, which same thing. It's a cool song. It was kind of nice to actually hear them not do the hits, because these songs are actually probably played a little bit better into the reworkings to make it their own style. And since they're not as familiar tracks, you could probably get away with a little bit more. Because I know a lot of times when people hear songs they really like, you don't want to hear it too different. either that or you want to hear it completely different. You don't want to hear any middle ground most of the time. At least that's what I've come across, and you know what I listen to anyway. The only one I thought was a little strange was they did "Like an Angel Passing Through My Room," which is a ballad. It's just keyboards and singing, so nothing metal about that. So I don't understand why they would put that on a metal tribute album. I mean, I guess they can do whatever they want. Didn't seem to really fit. And then they go into a heavy version of "Lay All Your Love on Me," which is actually a song they did on one of the previous albums. So that wasn't new, but it's probably where the idea came from. So, you know, other than that little slow one in there, it was a fun listen. It was, I just, you know, a lot of times you get cover albums and it's like, why did they do that? It's like, this is horrible. Sometimes you just get cover albums that just make no sense. It's almost like you feel like they're doing it because they have to, like they're fulfilling a contract or something. But this just felt like they did it because they wanted to have some fun. I got it off of Bandcamp once again. Love Bandcamp. I keep pushing that site. I think it's a great place to discover new music and maybe not as well-known bands. They kind of fall in the they're well-known, but they're not super ultra popular. So, you know, I'm sure they're one of those bands that's out there just trying to make a living. Even though a lot of these bands, you think they're huge and you think they're just like raking in the dough, and they're really not. These last few years, especially with COVID, and then previously with, you know, the downloading just taking over and people not buying music, these bands have had to find different ways to make money. So that's why I really like Bandcamp, because all the money goes right to them. And so that's where I got this one once again. And it's worth a listen. They got a few. If you want to check out a couple of the tracks, they actually have 3 of them on there you can check out ahead of time. But if you want to hear all of them, you gotta buy it, and it's only $10. I mean, come on, where are you gonna get music for $10 anymore? I mean, I guess iTunes, but you know, but whole albums. I mean, you don't get that stuff for that kind of price anymore. But anyway, enough of me pushing the Christmas ideas, I guess, or whatever. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. So. You know, if you like this, go check out their previous stuff. If you haven't listened to them, a great band. I really enjoy this band. They're a fun, symphonic, progressive metal band. So there you go. Be sure you leave your thoughts and comments and all that stuff down below. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. And we'll talk to you in the next one. See you.